is very much kind of like a synopsis of all the best bits of all the other lists
Okay.
that can be applied to anybody in any time in any culture. That's why I like it a lot.
Purification, eat no flesh. Good for the health. Yes. Vegan, being a vegan or vegetarian. No, absolutely. Known to be the best, the better.
Yeah.
The once every day, or bathe once every day. Yeah, that's a good idea. Prayer. How is that connected to prayer? Or is it separate prayer? Morning and evening
Okay.
prayer. Okay.
So the bathing, and I don't do this as much as I should, but when you go into the shower, um, there's an example of a prayer. So before you bathe, the before thee, O Jehovah, I will put away all filth of my body and the evil of my spirit. And you keep that thought in mind while you're bathing and after you leave the shower or bath. As I have with the water washed clean the outer man, O thou Jehovah, help me to make clean my spirit. So it's just a way of incorporating um, awareness that not only the body needs to be cleaned, but the mind and the spirit. And then after you get out, you just acknowledge that that's still your intention, and you've done your part for the body, and you're going to strive to do the same for your spirit,
Nice.
and asking for help. Yeah.
Alex Gibson is asking you how one is saved.
Oh, well, you save yourself, and it's basically just improvement. It's not a it's not exactly a destination. It's a gradient. A WASP calls it a state of ripeness or unripeness, and it's just a way of progressing through the stages from being unripe to being ripe. Hopefully that makes sense. It's not a it's not a black and white threshold you cross and now you're saved and that's it. It's a gradient, it's a direction, it's a destination. And it's a direction, and the destination is always. I wrote this thing where I it's like you're going towards a horizon that you never actually get to, but the light from the horizon is getting brighter and brighter.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. It makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, there's that. I really excited to share. But have you run across any of the? There's multiple sections where it talks about. Um, so the unripe to ripe would be also termed as being in a different grade. Like you go from grades 1 to 99, so it's the same scale, just a different term. And there's many different descriptions in Owaski where it talks about how cities or countries or different large groups of people will gravitate towards the same grade.
The same
And
grade?
well, let's just say vibration.
Okay.
They gravitate towards the same vibration. And a really good example is when it talked about doing charity, gave so many examples about how to actually do charity. An example is this one guy. He's very rich, and he was convicted he needed to give his money away to the poor, and so he just went down the street tossing his money on the street, and of course everyone picked it up. He was giving to everybody, which on the surface seems really good, but some people took the money and were worse off because they bought whatever vice it was that they didn't have the money for, and they become addicts and drunkards, and they're worse off than before. And then, of course, some people picked up the money and cleaned themselves up and clothed themselves and fed themselves and did good things with the money. And so the lesson is that you're going. So you do a good deed, and there's a negative effect and a positive effect. You're going to be balanced out, and if the negative was greater than the positive, that act of charity is going to actually be a mark against you. And the
Mm.
same thing with cities. in towns and countries and all that stuff. Let's say a city has a homeless problem, and so they open up 100 soup kitchens and homeless shelters.
Yeah.
It doubles, so they finally the city, and they have to stop the program entirely. And now they have like a city overrun with homeless and helpless people, and no resources for them.
Right.
And a neighboring city has laws in effect that they don't have homeless people. It's not even an issue. So they prevented the problem. And so all these different examples are a way of looking at large groups and like how they move as a whole and seeing the fruits of their actions. Now, one city didn't do any charity at all, and the other city did a lot of charity. But the city that didn't do any charity, was because they didn't need to do it. They had foresight, and they were preventing the problem, and so they are at a higher vibration or frequency. Anyway, it's really interesting.
I also see in the book of philosophy, in the book of Sethantes, it says it's better. Let's see. Wait, there's one. I was just looking at it. No, I wanted to. It's specific about the type of charity, and I thought it was pretty interesting. It says better. No, to such help themselves. Who is that? No. Okay. It says by charity alone, you cannot raise man up, but be diligent to teach him to try continually to raise himself. For herein lieth the glory of manhood.
Exactly.
Wisdom, total wisdom. And let's see, it is better is it to labor with a child from infancy, and thence to maturity to teach it aright, than to strive with a score of conceited adults, and fail to redeem one, who is the mocker of charity, more than they that give to such as can help themselves, but will not. Wisdom and uprightness of heart are but bread.
Yeah, that's some really powerful insights about how to actually interact with the world.
To them that practice charity and good works unto others, laboring not for self, I give the highest delight. Though they be pricked in the flesh with poverty and wicked persecutions, yet their souls are as the waters of a smooth running river. Amongst them that practice evil, the destruction and war, I send emissaries of benevolence and healing, who have plenteous words of pity. Dude, that this, oh my God. So obviously I've been running through the lives and the whole thing, the scriptures, dude, if it were scripture, the Bible, the Christian Bible, that whole thing would be completely opposite. To them that practice, I give the high side. Though they may, yes, but amongst them that practice evil and destruction and war, I send emissaries of benevolence and healing, who have plenteous words of pity. These are my arrows and spears and war clubs of God. This is the best. I'm going to read this in the life. Oh God, pity, gentle words, and the example of... Okay, hold on. Fact. Hold on. Where I'm saving this. Hold on. 20. To them, yes. Okay, hold on. I'm literally clipping this out, and I'm going to post this on a video to show the difference in terms of what a God that's loving would do, as opposed to those that practice wickedness and evil. I will crush them, and they will suffer the torment. No.
Jealous, envious, wrathful God.
These are my arrows and spears and war and war clubs, O God, pity, gentle words, and the example of tenderness. This is, dude, I'm so impressed. I just happened to be reading it because you mentioned charity, and then I was like, I go, oh man, this is exactly, watch, I'm doing a video, I'm posting this because the point is to say there is a different attitude, a different spirit when
Oh
it
yeah.
has to do with a all-wise, all-loving, benevolent being. This is what an all-loving, benevolent being would promote. Those that would follow would do this right here.
hmm It's amazing, Saul. Like I know that you are crazy busy and you're in all different directions,
This is
but
awesome.
I do know that the more you read a Waspy, it's like I think you said it once where all the things that you've looked at, all of the all of the most profound points are all connected and strung together in a Waspy. Like it's all in one spot.
Yes, it
It's
is.
amazing.
It is. It surprised, like, things like this. It just surprised me. I obviously just came across it in the moment, and I'm like,
hmm
yeah. And reading through, okay, so charity, and then it mentions wicked. This is my favorite. Literally, fact. There's so many. Like tonight, as I was scrolling through, I see the videos posted by the atheists and stuff, and they're talking about scripture and all this stuff, and it's. This is the very, like, this is going to shock people. To them that practice charity and good works unto others, laboring not for self, I give the highest delight. Though they be pricked in the flesh with poverty and wicked persecutions, yet their souls are as the waters of smooth running river. Amongst them that practice evil and destruction and war, I send emissaries of benevolence and healing, who have plenteous words of pity. These are my arrows and spears and war clubs, O God. Pity, gentle words, and the example of tenderness. Soon or late, these shall triumph over all things in heaven and earth. Done. Done. This is something that people. This is hope. Like this, I don't. How do I describe it? There's nothing that there is very no. I would say there's no attention that is given to an attitude like this when it comes to religion. In fact, I had a discussion with a woman. She's an author. Her name is Rebecca. She wrote a book called Crucifying the Bible. I
Mm.
had her on my live, and we discussed her book, and we discussed her background. We had, and in the discussion, even prior to that, she made it very clear: all religions, all spirituality is terrible and evil and bad, and that's it. I said,
Oh wow.
I do not believe that's the case. I don't think. She's like, it is. In history, it's always the same. It's only the bad. It's only the evil. It's only because there's such an inundation with
hmm
that being the case. Of
Oh,
course,
that is a valid point. It's pretty prominent. I mean, got to give her that point, but still.
I do, and I understand that, why. And I told her as much. I said, yeah, I do understand that. However, there are other forms of spirituality and expression that actually are in alignment with what is love. The Book of Owaspy did not come to my mind. I should have said, well, Owaspy. I'm sure she never heard of it.
Of
Faithists.
course, that. Yeah.
This is different. So, yep, I have it saved. I'm literally going to post this and say there are other practices of spirituality that actually are true to the claim that goodness and love and charity and kindness are the premise. Period. The Book of
Well,
Owaspy is one of the books that actually exemplifies this.
notice number 5 on the screen. That's like the heart of everything.
Return good for evil. Right.
Yeah, that's a command. Like if you see someone doing evil to you, you can't just ignore it. You have to find something good to do back. That's not
That's
a
that's hard.
recommendation. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
hard to do. Very hard to do. And I think it takes a certain level of maturity in order
Mm,
to recognize why that would be even valuable and not just a self affliction, a self um, whatever recrimination where you're just like, oh, I'm nothing. I'll let this person walk over me.
mhm,
That's not the case. It's about it's what this says, because sooner or later these shall triumph over all things in heaven and earth.
mhm,
It's like literally that's what it is. There's a saying, a quote from James Allen, and um, it says, an unbroken sweetness of conduct in the face of all outward antagonisms is the infallible indication of a self-conquered soul, the witness of wisdom, and the proof of the possession of truth.
mm.
That sentiment is very much in alignment with what we're reading right now in the Book of
Yeah,
Lost.
I like that. Where in Book of Atlantis what chapter was that?
This is okay. I'll show you. Hold on. So
I have it opened up to where.
yeah, this was chapter 17.
Okay, 17. All right.
Chapter
Well,
10, 15, 16. Right. And it's in the book. Is this the same? Hold on. Yeah, it's lots of chapters. Wow. So I searched because I was searching through charity,
oh,
and
okay.
and that's how I came across that in this book. How do you say the name? What is? I want to get this book. The name of it. It's the book. Whoa. How did I end of the
It's not
first book?
Sathantes, you're in a different book, right?
It has to be, yeah, because I see now. It was there such as glory in ceremonies. God, hold on, let me go back. Yeah, to them that practice charity and good works unto others, laboring not for self, I get the highest delight. Yeah, I don't know what book it
Oh, okay.
is. Now I'm lost in it. It's like page 523, and it's chapter 17. I'll find it. I'll find the book. It is.
No, and yeah, if you do get the reference, that would be cool to have. I'm sure I have it underlined, but
Yeah, I'm looking for it now. I will find chapter of okay, chapter 7, 5, 3, 2, 1. It's the Book of Wars Against Jehovah. Book of
oh, yeah,
Wars
yeah.
Against Jehovah, chapter 17.
Okay.
Jehovah.
I pronounce it Jehovah just for my own personal convenience, but everyone else pronounces it Jehovah.
Jehovah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Book of
the Book of
War.
Wars Against Jehovah, chapter 17. That's what I'm going to reference. Do these have verses or no?
Yeah, they're broken up into verses.
Okay.
Oh. So an example of this sort of justice and free will and all lovingness. There's a story of one of the creator's chief administrators, basically the true God of the world, and some of his subordinates decided to go off on their own way and to convince humans to worship them and become false gods. And his heart was really tore up. He didn't know what to do. He's already talked to them, and so he calls out to the creator, and the creator says, don't do anything. Let them have their thing. They're going to cause a muck. They're going to create new religions, and their influence is going to be felt for thousands and thousands of years. But you don't have to do anything, because they will come back to me of their own free will. And basically, the lesson is, if it wasn't for we create our own hell, and that is
Yeah.
our instruction eventually.
Say that again. That is our what? You went out.
Oh, we basically create our own hell, our own chaos,
Uh-huh.
and through that process, we create a map on how to find the light.
Okay.
So the chaos is how you eventually find the light, and so it's not something that needs to be stopped.
Ah, oh, this is so funny. This is too much. Okay, so conversation earlier today with a man who goes by Bear Cub. He's a friend of
Okay.
mine, and he was saying the same thing. This is what he said earlier, and I have the recording. He actually left a message. He goes, I think there's a lot of value and utility in the brokenness because of how it brings us to what is the truth and the appreciation for that. And I was
Hmm.
like, yeah, I definitely agree. And here I am having a conversation with you, and the sentiment is being reiterated. Yes.
It's crazy how the truth just bubbles up in all different sorts of ways.
It's so funny. That's so good. Yeah. Dude, I've missed talking to you. You've just left me out here in the straight jungles and dystopian wars of TikTok. I've been trying not to be consumed by the ravaging atheists and the
Yeah.
Muslim enthusiasts. It's been quite
This
something.
it is a bit of a jungle.